Let's talk about how a man will waste years of a woman's time knowing he doesn't want her, knowing that she wants something different than what he wants, but he will still waste her time nonetheless.
So I get a lot of women who say to me, I've been with my boyfriend for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Why didn't he marry me? I think that after 5 years and 10 years and 15 years, that it's too late to wonder why. The better question is, why did you want to be married and you decided to wait that long? What happens is a lot of y'all give men everything. You give them everything. They put it in your keister. They put it in your mouth, your ear. You're having threesomes with them. You cook, you clean, you shut up, you bail them out of jail. You show them about how to build their credit. You teach them about life insurance. You teach them how to be a good dad to their parents. You give them everything that you have without one of these, and you get 5 years and 10 years and 15 years down the road, and you're sitting there talking about, can I get a ring now? Why would I do extra work for the same amount of pay? I have experienced you in every way. You have given me everything that you possibly can give me. Why would I feel the need to commit? You did everything wifely like without this. You done gave me babies. You done gave me your youth. You done gave me your best years. Even if you wanted to leave, I feel like, well, shit, they can have you now. I've had my way with you. I did what I wanted to do with you. So no, I'm not gonna marry you. I'm gonna tell you shit like it's just a piece of paper. I'm gonna tell you shit like, let's not complicate this because I got you where I want you at. And this is why you save some things for marriage. Am I lying?
I'm talking to my women today, especially my young women, because the kitty y'all know now is not the kitty that I used to be. I used to be dumb, stupid, slow, dunce. Okay, not too much on yourself, kitty. It doesn't matter what it is that you do. The more you hold on to that man, the more you hurting yourself. You so consumed with that man that you can't even see that he's your struggle. And if you can't see that he's your struggle, that means that you can't listen to the people who are trying to warn you that he's your struggle. You show up and you show up, you do more and more just to prove your worth to this man, just for him to love you. You sacrifice a bit of yourself each time that you are trying to prove to this man that you are worthy of his love. You crying and begging, asking yourself why, questioning your worth, because your worth has now become dependent on how much attention and time this man gives you. And the time and attention that he gives you is limited to maybe some back and forth text, maybe some sex. When this man gets his fix, he dips. You think that man don't know what it is that he doing? A man who's played the game for so long, he knows when he has a woman's worth in his hand. He is playing you like a puppet, baby. And you acting crazy won't make him love you better. You want this man to love and respect you when you don't love and respect yourself. You showing him he don't have to give you nothing because you'll give yourself scraps so he can give you scraps. That's some desperate shit. How do you have a fear of losing people when you are dealing with someone who is purposely inconsistent with you? The only consistency that he shows is being inconsistent with you. This man is showing you that he'll leave as he pleases, and there is nothing that you can do to make him stay. This does not mean that you are not good enough. You're just not good enough for him, and that is okay. He does not want you on a deeper level, and that is okay. This man may not be ready. He may have commitment issues. He still may be in his player phase. He may have other options, or simply he may just not want you, and that is okay. No one's going to take you serious until you start taking yourself serious. And you chasing unavailable people tells everybody else that you take yourself as a joke. You chasing out of fear, and that is not okay. Whatever dream and vision you have created obviously is not the same vision that this man has. You all don't share the same vision. Get out of dreamland. He is not going to wake up one day and say, hello, world. I decided to be with this desperate woman who doesn't love herself. It sounds harsh, but it's the truth. Take that man off that pedestal. What Cole say? My ego gets stroked and I bruise him. I learned a long time ago from my uncles, from the OGs, that a man will commit when he is ready. Stop chasing that man. You're going to end up putting yourself in a position you don't want to be in, where this man finds a woman and he falls in love with her, he commits to her, and then you turn up to end up being the bitter ex-fling or the bitter baby mama. That label don't even sound right. Leave that man alone. Brought to you by a woman that used to be a dummy. No, but seriously, leave that man alone, girl. Go get you some starbs.
I see women walking away more easily now, and I'm so happy that women are finally waking up to the games that men play. But if you are desperate, if you keep calling him, you keep messaging him, he keeps on telling you that, hey, I'm gonna call you back, and he never calls you back, but you keep initiating conversation, that's just you being in your desperate energy, and men can tell. The same way that you can tell when a man is being desperate for you. You know when that guy keeps messaging you and you don't like him and you keep giving him an excuse, but he keeps texting because he really likes you? You know he's being desperate. Do you like him more because he's being desperate, or does it annoy you even more? Right. When a man has put you in a position where you have to chase him, he is just showing you how desperate you're being. Take the hint and leave that man alone.
If that man's behavior doesn't change, then he doesn't care about you. So many of us women are investing into these long term situationships with these men who just see us as a placeholder. So let me talk you through how you know that that man is wasting your time. And if you don't know, it's your internet big sis here with Love Bets, and I am a feminist who also holds women accountable. So the first way you know if a man is wasting your time is that his presence is sporadic, which means one moment he'll be around, have all your time, the next he'll be gone. Poof, vamos, son of a. And the reason that happens is usually because he is juggling multiple girls. He might have a girlfriend, so you know you're the side without knowing it, or also just because he doesn't like you that much. However, your presence in his life is transactional, which means that he uses you for something, whether it be your body, your cooking, your home, nurturing. Men, in the nicest way possible, as are women sometimes, are users. So just to segue here, a lot of men don't actually like women that much. And when I talk about like, I mean like they like their friends. They like men, but a lot of men just find women dumb and irritating. So a lot of men, when it comes to women, are used to putting in a shift to get the result at the end. So like you would go to work and get paid and you may not like your job, a man can spend time with a woman and get paid in the nut, basically, but he doesn't like the job, but he likes the outcome. So he will sacrifice. Another way you can tell is if there's no progression in your relationship or very slow progression. A relationship that has a destination will hit landmarks. So you will meet the guy, then you'll start talking to him. Maybe you'll start talking to him more. Maybe you'll become exclusive. Maybe you become boyfriend and girlfriend. Maybe you'll move in together. Maybe he'll propose. Maybe you get married. Like there are stones and steps on this journey.
Yeah.
When a man is wasting your time, you will find that things that are supposed to happen that should have happened in good time, they're not happening. And there's always a reason, there's always an excuse, there's always a justification that really, when you think about it, shouldn't stop the progression anyway. Another way you can tell a man is wasting your time is if you're very excluded from his world. So you haven't met his friends, you haven't met his family, you don't really know what goes on in his life day to day, you don't really know his routine. His life is very individual and separate from yours. Now, I'm not saying all of these things individually mean that that man doesn't like you or is wasting your time, because caveats and nuances. But if the list is starting to build and you're ticking all of these, another way you can tell if a man is wasting your time is if your relationship has evolved over time, but yet there still seem to be other women in the picture. These other women aren't falling off, because I do believe when you first meet a man, he is always talking to other women, and you don't have the right to tell him not to do that. However, if you are now building this relationship and it's progressing, those other women should now be falling away. If that's not happening, Nino, that was a siren, because it's an emergency, baby. Pay attention. Oh my God. Another way you can tell is if a man does not help you. And I am not talking about financial help all the time. Slow down, lady, slow down. I'm talking about maybe you're coming back from the airport. A man that cares about you and has the time will make the effort to pick you up from the airport. Maybe, you've run out of milk and he's on the way to the house. He might pick up some milk. If all a man buys you is alcohol and weed, Nino, Nino, Mayday, Mayday. Oh, another way, and this doesn't necessarily count if you're an introvert like me and you like staying in your house. But if you're a person that likes to go out and likes to do dinner, drinks, fun things outside, and he never takes you on dates, or if he does, it's very remote and very quiet and there's not people around. And just to jump on the back of that, if you do go places, let's say remote places, and you happen to bump into someone he knows and he's shuffling to introduce you, I mean, I think that's a very clear one. Oh, another way is if he's talking to his boys and you're there, but there's no sign of life of you. Like he's almost talking as if you're not there, and his friend would never ever know you were there because he doesn't even allude or speak to you, or you're not allowed to speak to him. Yeah. And then just the basic ones that I think we should all know, but I'm going to say it anyway, just in case. He's ghosting you. He talks to you for a while, goes, comes back. That man's not taking you seriously. If he talks down on you a lot, He may be taking you seriously, but not in a way that's ever going to benefit you. That man will always try and put you underground. So run, don't walk if he's doing that. The reality that no one wants to say is in the first 6 months of your relationship with this person from the day you meet them, it should feel like walking on sunshine. It should feel like happiness and prosperity and joy and love at first sight. That's how much you guys should be connecting in those first 6 months. Do not listen to people when they say, oh, relationships are hard and things like that. Yes, they are, but they shouldn't be in the first 6 months. What do you have to argue about within 6 months? And if you have so much to argue about, that's a very clear sign that this man is not for you. So sometimes the issue also is as women that we waste our own time. That guy shows us all the signs that he's a wrong un, that he's not for us, that he doesn't care for us, that he doesn't prioritize us, our happiness, our health sometimes as well. And we still stay in there as the loyal woman that we are, pushing, striving to make it happen. And it's month 4. No. So, ladies, if you're watching this video and you're connecting with a few of these points, I really want you to take the time and assess your relationship, review it, and say, am I really getting what I need and what I deserve as a woman who is giving, all these good things to a person? Am I getting that in return? And if you're not, cut it, cut it. That's what I was trying to do, but I'm old, so no. Anyway, like I always say, there's always an exception to the rule. For best results, assume it's not you. Mwah.
I agree with every single thing that she says. A man will look you dead in the eye, tell you that he loves you, he wants a future with you, he wants you to be the mother of his children, he wants to get married, and he could be lying. He could just be wasting your time because he's telling you everything that he thinks you want to hear to keep you there so that he can get the benefits from you that he wants.
A man will absolutely date you for years and never marry you and drag you along for years. Let me explain. Girls, I am telling you, I'm reading so many of my comments and it makes me so sad because I see these girls saying that they've been with these guys for years and they wasted all these years with a guy. Girls, I'm telling you from personal experience, and I'm also telling you from the fact that I work with thousands of men, thousands of them. A guy knows when you're the girl, and they know early on. But guys are different than us. See, if we don't like a guy, we're not going to have, sex with them. We're not going to, if we don't like them, we don't want to be bothered with them. Men are not the same. Men are not the same. A guy will stay with the girl that he's getting sex from. Maybe she's pretty. Maybe she's, fun to be around. Maybe, think about it. He's got someone to go out with on for holidays. He has someone to be his plus one, but he'll never propose. He just won't. He won't talk about a future. Guys, when you're the girl, you're going to know you're the girl. But I also want you to be careful because you will also have some guys that will lie to you and say, I love you. I want to marry you. I promise I'm going to put my ring on your finger. And you'll be like, oh my God, he loves me. He's going to marry me. And they never do. That's not a good guy either. Listen to me, girls, please. A guy knows early on if you're the girl for him. And if you're the girl for him, you will not ever be in doubt. Trust me on this. You'll never be in doubt. Never. If you're in doubt or if you're in a dating relationship that's gone on for years and years, it's not a good sign. I have to be honest. You're probably not the girl he's going to marry. And if he does marry you after a long period of time because you bitched at him and complained at him and people are like, why don't you marry the girl? Why don't you marry the girl? Now he feels like a jerk for not marrying you. He will not be a good husband because you're not the girl of his dreams. In my opinion, I know it's an old-fashioned way of thinking, but I swear I absolutely believe this is very, very true. A guy has to like the girl more than the girl likes the guy. The minute the girl starts liking the guy more than the guy likes the girl, the dynamic of the relationship changes. She starts to chase. She doesn't even realize she's doing it. No guy wants something that they want to feel like they got a prize, like they won something, like, look at what I got. This is my girl. That's what they want. They want the girl that they can show off to everybody and say, this is mine. And that's not about like beauty. That's about like, they love you. They love every part of you. And they can't imagine their life without you. Just imagine what I'm trying to say here. They, if you are not the girl, they're not going to propose. They will drag the relationship out. So if you're in a relationship for years and you're like, it's not going anywhere, I haven't gotten a ring and this and that, more than likely it's because you're not the girl and he's kind of holding out to see if the right girl comes along. You don't want to be the girl he settles for. You want to be the girl that he wanted more than anything. So I hope that helped. Take care. Be well.
Now, this is obviously from the perspective of women who want to get married. And I think this is actually true. If you want to get married, you have communicated that you wanted to get married from early on in the relationship. You speak about it from time to time that that is something that you are interested in. And it's been years, 5 years, 10 years, and he has not proposed to you. It's because he does not want to marry you. He just doesn't want to marry you. Whether he believes in marriage or not, you should not let someone waste years of your life if you are looking for marriage and they are not marrying you. I feel like after 28 going up, if you are with someone for like 2 3 years, you should know, and you should be pretty confident in the relationship to make the decision of whether or not you want to get married. I don't think it takes years. I think it might take maybe 6 months to a year for you to know that you want to marry the person, and then maybe you can take another year to actually plan a wedding or whatever. But 5 years, 10 years, and then having kids in the middle of all of that and not marry the woman, I feel like that's you hating her, and that's you conquering her to the point where I got you to do all of these things without me having to actually live up to the standard of what you wanted for yourself. Because for many women who want to get married, they also want to get married before they have kids. And if you're going to take a woman, you're going to promise to marry her, then she's going to have kids for you, and then you turn around and not marry her for years and years. I just think you're a terrible person. That's just my opinion.
I'm going to be a little bit mean and I want to hold your hand when I say this. When you get played by a guy and the summary is men just waste women's time to distract themselves from their problems and they're using sex as a distraction, that's fair. But if that happens to you over and over again, you find yourself in these situations with guys that you maybe sleep with a little too early, that can convince you that you're really special and there's a really great connection, but they just don't want anything serious. Maybe you are also doing the same thing. Maybe you are using male attention and validation and intimacy as an escape from loneliness, from a lack of hobbies, a lack of community with your friends, dissatisfaction with work. The list could go on. Okay. And this doesn't make you or that guy a bad person. Okay. This is information for you to reflect if you don't want to get in that kind of situation again. Okay. The world is not able to progress and experience its full potential as long as women are fighting themselves or fighting other women for the attention of mediocre men. Please understand that you have the power to set the bar for the way that you are treated. Okay. You do not just have to accept the attention of men and assume that it has to be an invitation to your body, to your empathy, to your intimacy. Okay. Saying that men are wasting women's time getting access to sex because they're not doing anything meaningful in their lives means that on some level you are a target for a reason. Okay. You've been played for a reason. It's not your fault, but at some point you need to take accountability. You need to take responsibility for the outcomes in your life if you're not satisfied with them. You like getting your time wasted by men, crying and throwing up because you're not getting what you want. That's fine. You don't want to cry and throw up anymore. Consider reorganizing your life and your priorities so that you are doing meaningful things in your life. And any man that's coming along and giving you attention for it, you are able to vet relative to the quality of life that you're living. Is this man adding to my life, or would being intimate with him or getting to know him or spending time with him take away from it? What am I bringing to the table as a woman? Okay. What does this man want from me? And am I willing to give it? What do I need to see in return if I'm going to give this person access to my body, to my heart? So, yeah, I'm going to let go of your hand now. You can listen to my podcast, French Crush with Amber Akilla, and you can follow me on Instagram and YouTube at Amber Akilla.
In essence, we need to decenter men and decenter relationships in order to reflect on ourselves, the values that we place on ourselves, how we want to be treated, and actually how to enforce the boundaries that we have. Because many of us, we have the ideas of the boundaries that we want, but as soon as that one guy comes around and he's just amazing and he's everything that you've ever wanted, but he violates your boundaries, you're so quick to let it slide because, oh, that's just one thing. And then before you know it, you're just going off and ticking off all the red flags in this guy because you have let your boundaries slip, and then you gave him an inch and he took a mile.
In my lifetime, I have known a lot of married people, but I haven't known a lot of happily married people. And I chalk that up to the reality that most men don't actually marry their dream girl, they marry the convenient girl. They marry the best choice that was available when they decided that they ought to settle down. They go with the one that looked best on paper, that, adored him the most, that was least likely to leave, the one that asked the least of him and did most of the heavy lifting in the relationship. But she's also the one who, several years later, when life gets difficult, he won't really fight for. In 2024, holding the title of the wife isn't really such a prize. And divorce, marital satisfaction, and infidelity rates, the statistics support that. So maybe if we realized this and got a little more practical in how we approach marriage, not with the idea that it's happily ever after, there would be less disappointment in the end for both men and women.
When you guys start dating, what's the timeline for proposal? Well, if it's been 8 years, sis, that man ain't marrying you. You might as well just get comfortable with the fact that y'all are just going to end up together in common law marriage, because that man, if y'all been dating for 8 years and he hasn't proposed yet, that man deep down secretly thinks he can do better than you. That one day when his potential unlocks, he'll get a better woman. That's why he isn't married. That is why he hasn't proposed to you yet, honey. That's the reason. All right.
So when my husband and I were about to get together, I told him, listen, you have a year. And if we haven't figured this out in a year, we're done. So 6 months later, I had a surprise proposal. We were married before the year, and it's been almost a decade that we have been married. And I agree with what he's saying, because a man looking for a wife is a very different man than one looking for friendship, partnership, a buddy, sex. It's a different man. And so what happens is women will waste time with men who are not looking for a wife, and pass over the men that are actually looking for a wife. It's almost like you're on a road and you're on the wrong road. So everyone you meet on this road is the wrong person. But if you are on the right road, then you're able to meet the people in alignment with your destiny and path. And so a lot of times women will lower the standard to be with men that aren't doing what they want because they feel like there's no one else out there. But there is. You have to determine that within yourself. And no, I'm not lowering the standard, because before my husband came around, there was someone else. And I asked him, what is it that you want if we get in a relationship? And he's like, well, I'm just looking for friendship. I'm just looking for. And immediately I said no, because
I just want to say, if you're talking to a guy and he says he's just going with the flow, it's going nowhere. It's going to the bedroom, but it's going nowhere else. And and also, if you are dating and you want to get married and you have a time period on how long you're willing to date before you get engaged or before you get married, that looks a lot different if you are 20 years old than if you're 30. Taking 3 years to decide if you want to get married, to get engaged, taking 3 years when you're 20 is not the same as taking 3 years when you're 30, 35. If you are in your 30s and you want to get married, giving a man 5 years to decide if he wants to marry you is crazy. And also, The decision on whether or not to get married, I think a lot of people put it on the man. But if you're looking to get married, that decision is also yours. So if you realize that this is not something mutual, you can decide to walk away for that reason. So just because he isn't making steps towards marrying you, it doesn't mean that you're never going to get married. You can just decide for yourself that he isn't on the same path. It is not worth it to force. It is not worth it to beg for a ring. You're going to end up getting a shut up ring, which is just a ring that he gives you to shut you up. You might get engaged for a while and then you never actually reach the altar. Or if you do get married, he just did it to shut you up. But really and truly, he would have rather to marry someone else, whether it's someone else that he actually met or it's someone else that he has a fantasy about in his mind, like this dream girl in his mind who's not you. So the decision on whether or not to get married, I think we should think about it less of it's just a man's decision or it's whenever the man decides. It is also your decision. And you have to consider all the factors within that specific relationship. How old are you? What are your finances like? Does anyone have kids? Does anyone need to move across the country? All of those things need to be put into perspective, of course. But if you have a timeline based on all things considered, you can stick to that. You don't have to wait on that man to decide to marry you to affirm to yourself that you're worth being a wife.
Because I wasn't looking for friendship and companionship. I was in the place of ready to be a wife. I asked my husband the same question when he came around. I said, "So what is it you're looking for?" And he said, "I'm looking for a wife." He was 23, I was 22. He was looking for a wife. And so I agree with what this man is saying. Men will waste your time because you give them companionship, friendship, sexual gratification, cook for them, pay their bills, and then there's no commitment. And so if you find yourself in that situation, I encourage you to leave. I encourage you to say, "Hey, I'm out." It's okay to choose yourself. Dr. Jordan Peterson said many women forego the time of their life when they can really get into stable relationships because they've picked the wrong partner. That's wasting your time. So if this person is wasting your time, if you don't want your time wasted, just end it and leave. And everything that I said with these two people, I said it before we entered a relationship. We were not dating. This was front end contractions. I don't know if anyone is in sales. In sales, they teach you to have um, verbal agreements before you even get to the sale. So you know what to expect and you already know where the other person is. So before, ladies, before you guys even get to a place of commitment or liking these guys, figure out where their head is, figure out what they want. But guess what? It really matters that you know what you want, because a lot of this confusion, I believe, is because the women are not sure and are not settled in who they are and what they really want. All right, listen, she goes in Christ. I'm passionate about seeing women grow in their relationship with Christ. So follow for more content.
Really don't know who needs to hear this, but to all the ladies out there and to all the men out there, doesn't matter. Um, I just want to let you guys know that a man knows. A man knows. What do I mean? I'll tell you what it means. A man knows if you are the one for him. Why am I saying this? I was talking to my best friend. He was dealing with this girl. This girl was head over heels for him. I liked her, by the way. She was great. I actually loved her. He called it off. They'd been together for 2 years. And I said, bro, why would, like, what happened? Like, she was devastated. He was telling me she was crying on the phone, like, I love you and what happened. And he said to me, when I got with her, that's what she wanted. I gave her what she wanted, but she does not qualify for what she needs, and I'm not giving her what she needs. I'm giving who I'm supposed to be with what she needs. When I heard that, I was like, I'm not even her, bro, and I'm offended. So let me tell you something, ladies. And he's from India, so it's like he was already destined to be with the woman that, his parents set him out to be with. So let me say this to anybody out there: do not waste your time. Do not waste your time. If you are giving your all into something, because I'm a witness, she was always taking care of him. She was doing the most, going out. But the woman he's about to marry he's going all out for her, giving this woman he's meant to be with what she needs and what she qualifies for. So the woman, so it's like I learned want and need. I know what it means, but it's like in that moment, it was like want and need, two separate things. So I gave her what she wanted. That's what you wanted. I'm not going to give you all of me. You don't qualify for that. You qualify for this. So, to anybody out there, listen, don't waste your time. What you should do, value yourself first, manifest the person that you deserve and who would care for you and respect you and put a ring on your finger. Because I tell you, don't run after someone who's running away from you. And if they're running away from you and you caught them by the hook, they're only going to stay but so long.
His best friend is a horrible person. A horrible person. You know why? Because he knew from the get-go that he was not going to go all the way with her. But like he's saying, she was there for him. She did everything for him. But he knew in the back of his mind that, look, I don't want this girl. I'm not going to go all the way, but I'm just going to give her just enough. I'm just gonna give her the breadcrumbs. I'm just gonna give her just enough to keep her hooked until I'm ready to leave her, until I'm ready to go be with the woman that I truly want to be with. That is that behavior is just horrible. And how can you call yourself a man? And I bet he thinks that he's a good person. I bet you anything that man thinks that he is a good person.
Women at every age have got to start realizing that men know very quickly if they want to marry you. If you start dating a guy and he says, "Oh, marriage just isn't for me," he is not that serious about you. My dad always told me if a man ever says, "Oh, marriage isn't for him," he means marriage isn't for him with you. It is always better to face the hard truths about men instead of having a man string you along. And they will string you along for a long time. They will string you along for 5 years, 7 years, no problem, and they will have no guilt about it. Women have got to start being responsible for their boundaries, for their time. If a man has not brought up marriage within 1 year, he has not said that he sees you as his wife, he has not shown that he would marry you whenever you're ready, break up, not the guy for you. Now, I'm not saying you have to get married after 1 year. As a woman, you can take as much time as you need to figure out if he is a safe guy, if he is a good guy, if he will be a faithful husband. But what I'm saying is, men know very quickly, honestly, within a few months, they know if they can see you as their wife. I saw a girl say that her rule is after 2 years, if they're not ready to marry her, she breaks up with them. 2 years is too long. Men know well before 2 years if they're going to marry you. And if they say like marriage isn't for them, it's just a piece of paper, they're not sure if they're ready, they will string you along as you let them. Never be one of the women that tries to convince a man to give you an engagement ring. Because if you convince him to propose to you, to marry you, you're setting yourself up for a marriage where a man takes you for granted because he was never crazy about you. Trust me, when a man knows that he is crazy about a woman, he does not want to lose her. He wants to marry her. He wants you out of the dating pool. No, you don't have to marry him whenever he's ready. But if he is not letting you know within a year that he wants to marry you, not the guy to keep dating ever.
Listen, ladies, we have to take better control of our destinies when it comes to relationships. And of course, you can marry someone and he turns out to be a horrible husband, like years into the marriage. But if this is what you want to do, do not waste your time being desperate for a man. Do not waste your time having babies for a man who does not see you as being a wife. He does not want to marry you. He does not want to give you the things you need, the things that you ask for, the things that you feel would make you feel the most safe and comfortable in the relationship. He's just not the one for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong if a man doesn't want you, if he says it up front. If you have the conversation, he says that, listen, I'm not looking for a wife. I am just looking to have fun. If you go ahead knowing that you want to get married, you want to have a family, if you still go ahead, whatever happens is on you. But if this man pretends that he wants it all and he wants to give it all to you, and you don't see that actually happening, like you don't have any tangible evidence that this is happening, this is what he wants, do not play yourself. Do not play yourself. Do not make excuses for him. Just take it as at face value. His actions mean more than what he says, especially if it's been 2 or more years. I love you all. I want you to be happy and safe, whether or not you choose to be married or you choose to stay single, whether you choose to have kids or you choose to not have kids. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life, but whatever decision you make, I want you to make the best one for yourself. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below.